Corey Horton back to the end zone.
28-yard play. Guess who? Body up the middle, making another move to the outside. 15, 10, end zone again.
Keeps it. Nice move by Brown. He's got space. He's got 6. 35-yard touchdown for Byron Brown. A record-setting night for the South Florida quarterback.
Down so far, a little bit of a high snap. Genty right up the middle. Genty has room. Ashton Genty, give him 6.
Second and long. Lagar tries to fit it in. Ramos, it does. Ramos stays up. The Suns offense 4-3 wheels. Incredible effort for Royals.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive Live. We're a little bit earlier on this Monday. Christmas vacation. Got some stuff that popped up in the evening. So we're moving it up just a little bit. We are excited to bring you the G5 college football coverage that you love each and every week. I am Luke, and I am joined by my co-host, Justice. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, a retweet. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. The G5 Hive merchandise store is now live. Link in the YouTube comments as well as pinned on our X page and at the bottom of the screen. All right. Let's get this going here. We have the VRBO Fiesta Bowl, number 6, Penn State Nittany Lions versus number 3, Boise State Broncos in Glendale, Arizona. New Year's Eve, Tuesday night, tomorrow night, tonight, whenever you're listening to us, Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. The Broncos like the Fiesta Bowl. You can remember back to that. I hope they do a Statue of Liberty or a hook and ladder or some sort of play if they can. Penn State, I'm not sure on any injuries that they might have, opt-outs. Obviously, their backup quarterback, they had some packages for, is it Bo Preblula? He is committed, I think, to Mizzou, I believe. Yeah. So he will not be there. Injuries for Boise State. True freshman running back Sire Gaines. He hasn't played a snap since he was injured back in week 2, week 1, something like that. But he's been practicing this week. So we might see a little bit of Cyrus Gaines, maybe. And then safety Alexander Tubner, he's healthy. Not sure if he will be on a snap count or not. Remember, he was a critical part of the back end of this defense here for Boise State. Opt-outs and transfers, there's only one as of now. Quarterback Malachi Nelson, he was welcome to stay, but he's been out visiting other schools during their prep. So hard to believe he will be there. I believe he committed to UTEP.
I don't think he committed. He visited UTEP. I don't think he committed there.
Okay. Maybe it's just that. So he's out. So I doubt he will be there. But other than that, who are the Nittany Lions that you need to know about?
Well, I think we'll start with maybe the Boise State offense and Penn State defense, and we'll come back to the slide. But when Boise State has the ball, you need to know their quarterback Maddox Madsen. He's a gamer, man. He can run the ball. He's had games where he's won games with his passing ability. But if we're going to talk about the Boise State offense, it kind of starts with running back Ashton Genty, one of the best running backs in college football history. Should have been the Heisman winner. I mean, I hate to belabor the point, but the Heisman winner sure had an awesome performance. That him and his team had an awesome performance getting their butts kicked the other night. I mean, I think he had 3 catches for 101 yards. Yeah, he had a good game from that perspective. But if you saw his effort on that L.J. Martin touchdown run, and you said, "Oh yeah, that's the Heisman." He's a great defensive back. I don't know what to say, but anyway, getting off track. But yeah, Ashton Genty, one of the best players in college football, one of the best players in college football history, could potentially break the the all-time rushing record, Barry Sanders' rushing record in this game. I think he's at 185 yards. I think he needs something around there, 184 maybe. When they're not handing the ball off to Ashton Janty, you got wide receivers Cam Camper and Latrell Caples. Latrell Caples has stepped up big in big games for Boise State, so look for him to possibly be someone that kind of steps up and helps this passing game. And then tight end Matt Lauder, he seems to kind of be a favorite target, especially in the red zone. We saw him used a lot in the both victories over UNLV. He's kind of a safety blanket there for quarterback Maddox Madsen. When Boise State has the ball and you're looking at the Penn State defense, they're led by probably first-round draft pick defensive end Abdul Carter, one of the best defensive end edges in all of college football this past season. He's also joined by Danny Dennis Sutton, who's also a great edge or defensive end for the Nittany Lions. At linebacker, they got Kobe King, their leading tackler at linebacker. Also a young guy, Antonio Rojas, who had a good game against SMU. I believe he had I don't know if it was a pick six, but I know he had an interception. I can't remember if he returned that for a touchdown. And then on the back end, they're led by the leading tackler on the year overall, safety Jalen Reed and safeties Zakie Wheatley. Penn State always has a great defense year in and year out, and kind of if you're watching us on YouTube, you see the graphic, the by the numbers graphic. We have the Boise State offense, the Penn State defense, and it's strength on strength, right? The strength of the Boise State offense is the running game, right? They're ranked 5th in the nation, 250.54 yards per game. And then you look at Penn State, and where's the strength of their defense? The rushing defense, ranked 7th in the country, only allowing 100.36 yards per game. And then third down conversions, right? Another strength on strength. The Boise State offense is ranked 8th nationwide in terms of third down conversions, where the Penn State defense is ranked 26. So it's really going to be a battle of the strengths here in terms of when Boise State has the ball. It's going to be best on best, and it's going to be interesting to kind of see. No one's really been able to. I mean, when we say contain Ashton Janty, we're talking 110 yards, 125 yards, which kind of seems ridiculous when you're talking about like someone containing him. But that's kind of what containing him has looked like thus far this season. And when Max Madsen's had to step up, he's done it. And so it's just going to be interesting to kind of see how this plays out with some strength on strength when Boise State has the ball. Got any thoughts, Luke, before we move over to the Penn State offense?
It's just going to be, coming out of third down, that it's third down and manageable. For Boise State, can't get in that third and long situation, because I just don't think that's where Maddox Madsen excels. It's hard for any team, not just Maddox, but as long as you keep Ashton as a possible weapon for each down, that's what you need to do. Get it into third and manageable, get those 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s, even a 3rd and 5 isn't awful, but you can see they're dang near about 50% on their third down conversion. So it's going to come down to who can convert on third downs and who can win the turnover battle. And then I really like this Boise State defensive line. I really do. So we'll see how they are able to attack the Penn State offensive line. And then we'll see that Penn State defense is good. So we will see how the offensive line and like I said, maybe a hook and ladder, maybe a Statue of Liberty here and there. That would be fun for reminiscence standpoint. Hopefully they get to a point where they could do it for fun, not out of necessity. But maybe there's an overtime and they pull out the Statue of Liberty or something. So, but I think it's going to come down to the third down conversion. That's what I'm going to really be focusing on.
One thing I think is kind of underrated of Maddox Madsen's game is he doesn't take sacks. Um, he's pretty good about getting rid of the ball, getting out of the pocket, running if he needs to. He just doesn't take sacks, and I think that's going to be critical for Boise State in this game, like you said, to not get down in the not to get in those
And
terrible situations, those third and long situations.
and honestly, I'm not too well versed in Nittany Lion special teams, but I feel pretty confident that Boise State's special teams, kicking, punting, like
Pretty good.
they are going to play a pivotal because obviously they're not going to score a touchdown every single time. But I think Boise State can punt well, can change those field positions, and they've got an incredible field goal kicker that I think could help them out in this game.
All right. Well, let's look at the Penn State offense. So when Penn State has the ball on offense, they're led by quarterback Drew Alar, who's already announced he's to this point anyway. He said he's returning to school next year. That he's not going off the NFL draft. And then they have a pair of running backs that are just, they're not Ashton Jeanty, but they're pretty daggone good running backs. And Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. Katron Allen's kind of the bruiser, the between the tackles, the tough yards guy, where Singleton is more of the the flashier home run threat in terms of making something happen with with less touches kind of guy. He doesn't he's not necessarily a bruiser. He's more of your speed guy per se. When they're throwing the ball, look to tight end Tyler Warren. He was the Mackey Award winner this year. He's their number one target in terms of the passing game. They also look for wide receiver Harrison Wallace III. But I mean, these teams, I think what these teams want to do on offense are very similar. They both kind of want to run the ball a lot. They're not going to throw the ball all over the field. So two very similar offenses. When Penn State's on offense and Boise State's on defense, look for defensive ends Ahmed Hassanian and Jaden Virgin Morgan. Those are the guys kind of getting the pressure, causing the havoc up front for the Broncos. And then, like you said, like Luke said, their safeties have been phenomenal all year. You got Ty Benefield, Seye Aladipo, and Alexander Tubner. Those guys have all three of them have stepped up at different points in the year. They're great in run support. They're great in coverage. They do it all for this Boise State defense. Speaking of coverage, they got two pretty good corners in Jeremiah Irby and Amarian McCoy. It's going to be interesting to kind of see who they match up with Warren. My gut says it's going to be Oladipo, but we'll see how they kind of handle that matchup. If you're watching us again on YouTube, we have by the numbers. We have the Penn State offense and the Boise State defense, and it's kind of a mirror image of what we saw when we talked about Boise State offense and Penn State defense. It's strength on strength. Penn State's strength offensively is rushing the ball, ranked 19th in the country, allowing or rushing for 201.21 yards per game, and the strength of the Boise State defense is the rushing defense, ranked 23rd, only giving up 115.08 yards per game. So these two teams are just eerily similar in terms of what they want to do, what the strengths are of their offense and the strengths of their defense. Should make for a really good game. Hopefully, obviously we're all pulling for Boise State. I think I had Boise State in the finals against Oregon. That's kind of what I was rooting for. The spread is Penn State by 11 with an over/under of 53.5. If it was me, I'm taking Boise all day in 11 points. Boise might not win the game, but I don't think they lose the game by double digits. That's just my personal opinion. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I feel like I like taking the under. I like taking a closer game. I think what we'll get is maybe the two teams filling each other out for that first quarter. Maybe not a lot going on in that first quarter. More so it's field position. And then I think maybe midway through that second quarter is when the fireworks start. But then how big of a fireworks is it? Is it just a play or two, or is it like both teams open up the dam? But I feel like that first quarter is just going to be these teams feeling each other out. So I like the under for the entire game, and I like Boise State to cover. And honestly, what it comes down to, I think, is can Penn State stop Ashton Jeanty? We've been talking about it all season. Ashton Jeanty last year was utilized in the passing game and like nothing. He's been like nothing this year in the passing game. I hope they unleash him in the passing game because that will be that dynamic that they add that Penn State hasn't seen this year on tape. Maybe they're probably studying last year's tape and whatnot. But like we've interviewed other people who talk about how slippery he is when he's got the ball and how dynamic he is when he has the ball in his hand out of the backfield. So that is what I hope to see Boise State do. So can Penn State stop Ashton Jeanty? Hopefully Boise State passes the ball to him a little bit more. And then what does Boise State do to stop Warren? I think if you can stop Warren, I think you can kind of stop everything else. I mean, Nick Singleton out of the backfield. Honestly, I hope Boise State utilizes Ashton Jeanty like Penn State utilizes Nicholas Singleton. I mean, he gets the ball out of the backfield, and I don't think he's as dynamic with the ball in his hand as Ashton Jeanty is, but that's what I'm kind of hoping for. So I think it comes down to those things.
No, that's a good point about using Ashton in the passing game. Like you said, we interviewed two NFL players, defensive players, Bo Richter and Trey Taylor, who are playing on Sundays now. And when we interviewed them and we talked about Ashton Jeanty, like they both said, like the remarkable thing is like they said was, it's that kind of surprised them was like they said, well, he's obviously a good running back, but he's probably even a better receiver. And like you said, the Broncos just really haven't utilized him that way this year like they did in years past. So yeah, I agree that's something definitely to look out for in this game, and hopefully the Broncos can get a win and Ashton Jeanty can get the record as well on the way to this Fiesta Bowl win, and we'll see the Broncos in the semifinals.
Why don't you come back and join us next week as we discuss what happened in the G5 Bowl games, as well as bring you up to date on all the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching us on X, please give us a retweet, a like, and a follow. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star rating and reviews. Thank you all for your support. Until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.